You're just in time. Saved you a seat for the Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find aimed at male self improvement. And my deep dive tonight is all focused, all about the utility of the modern man. The idea you and I will only be successful under this soul condition. We become as useful as possible in life in terms of everything, all of it, right off the bat. Capability, your finances, just your own skills and talents, everything about you completely maximized to the point that everyone that is a part of the rest of the world, the rest of modern society, how about modern American society, would look at you, do a quick once over on everything that's going on in your life, and just say, okay, there is my stamp of approval. Is that the way? Is this a ultimate endpoint for male self-improvement? Well, why do I want to get better every single day? Why do I want to try and be better? So that I can get to that point, no one will ever be able to tell me anymore, you are not good enough yet. Because then when I contrast this with a life where you would never care about anyone else's approval, that it wouldn't matter who, everyone in this regard, whether they validate you or not. Oh, I'm talking about complete strangers. Yes, the rest of the world, or your closest loved ones, your family, your friends, people that are very near and dear to your heart. And it just wouldn't matter because you did the work and you've already gone through the process of validating yourself. Which one? Is there a middle road? Is there an optimal gray area here to existence where you can tightrope a very fine balance and, possibly have the best of both worlds? I would still care about the opinions of those I care about, but still keep enough distance from people where no matter what anyone says, I will still abide by certain core principles and philosophies, lifestyles and foundations that I call my own. All of that is a lot of work. Is work the wrong adjective? Could you say that's a lot of life to live? These are a lot of problems to solve. These are a lot of thoughts to think. It's a lot of, to me, existence to exist in. It's worth it for you because you and I are burdened on both sides. And that's how I'm going to initially really break into this tonight. And what I mean by being burdened on both sides as a man is what's interesting to me. Okay, now I'm going to see if you agree, bro. But I will push it to the extreme on both ends of the spectrum to begin drawing out this example. I'm hoping it will work. It will turn out somewhat okay like this. So on one end, you have you as already as successful as possible. This is you living your hopes and dreams. You are waking up to the reality you are dreaming of right now. Unless you are watching me with a perfect life. If you're doing that, then I appreciate you for being here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to help you though. But when there is anything going wrong, okay, there's some sort of issue, okay, then I need you to visualize that. This word's so tough. but all right, I'm gonna use it real quick. Um, where I need you to visualize that perfect reality and being in it. I mean, I bet that's going to be filled with all sorts of wonderful treasures, rewards, outcomes, experiences, all sorts of stuff that you wish were happening right now. Okay, but okay, what you got right now is this podcast with me. Okay, all right, well, I got you though. Let me see if I can help you out with that. Even with, I argue, your sweetest circumstances surrounding you in life, you would still be heaved onto your shoulders. That is still a whole ton of burden. Because, I mean, when you really make it, then it's easy to say, well, if I'm living my perfect reality, I'm going to have so much money that work is not a thing, stress is not a thing, resistance, struggle, any of that. It's just, it's all been taken care of. Now was the time to enjoy. So that's very dangerous to me. Now is the time to enjoy. Even and I'm saying that on top of this example that everything is taken care of because you work. It's not that it was given to you. No, this end of the spectrum is not you. It's not the you that won the lottery. It's not that it fell onto your lap out of the sky for absolutely no reason just because you happen to be alive that day. Not like that. No, you really busted your butt. You really did everything that you were supposed to do, that you needed to do, and you did it relentlessly. And so you ended up with, I would say rightfully so, your best life. And then when you reach it, and then you say to yourself, Kumo, this is my best life. Why would I not? Why would I not exclusively focus on enjoying the crap out of it for with little time? I take that back. For however, whatever the amount of time I have left with it. Now I'm with you on that. But the danger of pure enjoyment is it's so easy to fall into the pit of hedonism and materialism in this way. It's a path that would allow you to forsake and kind of cast aside the very important and the very necessary choices and decisions a man must make to maintain all these separate facets of his best life. I think some of these games and some of these lifestyle choices and some of these products and creations you came up with, you built, that you brought into your reality, none of them have an expiration date. None of them have a finish line. All right. And to get very specific now, that is the relationship with you and the love of your life. It's like, and this is this is just between you and me, all right? Because I really have no idea how women would feel about this, but I believe most of us really do look at it as, oh, I'm trying to score the hottest girl possible. And hopefully that's the wife. But it's as immature of a take that is, as juvenile of a perspective. It's just I really want whoever's going to be my queen, right? The ride or die for the rest of my life. I would just like to be as I want to be as um, I want to be as attracted to her as much as possible. Okay. But then after that attraction is secured and um, you both fall and the love happens and the honeymoon was spectacular. Now you both have the rest of your lives together. So I don't believe both of you will automatically and naturally get along for the rest of your lives. See, that's a project that will uh, perpetually and eternally be ongoing, because the initial promise for both of you to do something this crazy together in love is quite a crazy thing. Last I checked, is that it would be you and her for eternity. So it makes sense in this way. I want to try to keep this going. If you're providing some sort of service in this world, but oh yes, of course, you want to get to that point. I mean, um, I am to believe when you really are making the big bucks and everything is going your way and you're making your business work in the way that it's supposed to, then you eventually you shouldn't have to run it. Yeah, yeah. Eventually, the systems, the functions, the exactly how it is making money should just be happening by itself. Okay, where now the cash is just flowing to you because right. You took the time, you were there for the grind, the work, all of it to create it, and now it can just continue. But it's still, I think, maybe this is more of a true entrepreneurial spirit here, but to always be on the cutting edge, to be as innovative as possible, always looking for some way to grow, to expand, or to improve upon a previous standard. Which is very individual, and this comes down more to individual personality. I can totally see a lot of guys in terms of finances and business when they really make it. Okay, they're hanging it up. That's it, because they're good now. I really put in the time. I don't even want to think about this stuff anymore. I don't even. Other men, if it means more to you than that, you would never really want to leave it. This is something that you're always going to be able to do until you die. You're always going to be able to, maybe not necessarily hands on, but the business or your life's work, or the whatever the company you created is so much of a part of you that it's not all about, I've reached the point where I don't have to worry about this anymore and I go and enjoy all other parts of my life forever. Would you be able to? Would you be able to? Unless you could still be a part of what you created as making you all the money. It really, I'm talking about, this is the best you, the most successful you. The spiritual journey, personally, mine is of the Christian faith. That one speaks for itself. The moment I said Christian, you want to talk about eternal and ongoing process. I have some Christian mentors, and if I can remember from what they taught me, it actually will finish. No, it's actually. Of course, God and all entities relating to Him in heaven and His kingdom is yes, obviously, I would say eternal, but that after a certain point, it's just, we made it. Yeah, it's actually not the eternal struggle, which is pretty awesome. You were talking about a great incentive to see if this religion is right for you. I highly recommend it, but that's definitely a different podcast episode. So that's love. That's money. That's faith right there. See, so much of it. Let me go for one more. Your children. I don't know if you have any. I don't know if you plan on it. I don't, but I do. I don't have any, but I do. I do plan on having kids. That'd be dope. Okay, like what up, sport? Like yeah, I really be that dad. And you go this way, and that's definitely. Oh God, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how successful they become. How they all make it to the promised land. Oh, I believe I can empathize easily with this idea I've heard that to become a parent is to always be at least a little bit worried about your kid for the rest of your life, simply because they are that close to you. You know, brother, you want to talk about your own creation, your finest, your best creation. That be it right there. That's a lot of the forever. And that's why I say burden, because that doesn't happen by itself. It's not easy. It can get easier, and you can get so good at it, it can feel effortless. But to get to that point, of kind of mastery over these areas of life, to be able to, call it, all right, the pinnacle and the accumulation of, oh, this is exactly how I want it to be. And that's why, I set this off with saying your best reality. It's not. It's yeah, okay. Unless you really go the way of hands off, doesn't matter, nothing matters anymore. I'm just gonna have a great time. That's just not life. That is not practical. It's very unlikely too. I really believe that, because life has this way of showing up again and again in all of our lives, in all of our own unique realities. It will show up again and again as tragedy and negativity and misfortune. Tis the nature of the ups and downs of life. That's so much. It really is. I mean, everything I've said so far, if you agree with me, and this all sounds very attractive to you, or you're living it, you're blessed, brother. You're not living it, you want to live it. I'm shoulder to shoulder with you right there. Then I will safely assume you're gonna agree with me. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's the rest of my life. It's all of life. It's so much effort all the time. But it's okay if you can because right, I say this. Do I say this once an episode? I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop until you guys are like, until I don't know. I don't even know. As many guys as possible will literally comment. We get it. You can take a break, Kumo, from this point. Until then, I won't. And that is, you have to make sure what you want before you go for what you want. Okay, that is. I am not a fan of needless suffering. I call it, or unnecessary misery. So you got to be sure this is really what you're going for. I'm doing this because I want to do this. I'm not doing this because I think, I mean, I know it gets blurry, right? Because you can get to that point where, well, I have several things that I think I want to do. And because I don't know for sure which one, oh, how about let's just not do anything? No. I totally feel that. But you want to be as sure as possible. I know I'm not a fan of, a guy just being like, oh, okay, I don't have anything else to do. Oh, brother. It's because it takes so much from you. It's going to change you. It's going to take, blood, sweat, and tears. Oh, these are the blood, sweat, and tears is like the initial down payment. It's all of it. It will take your sanity. It will take so much effort. It will take so much, I don't know, stimulants. How many gallons of coffee and espresso have I downed in the name of my process, in my journey? It's a lot. It's so much. So if you with me on that, that's this end. let this end be the end of the rainbow. You know, let this end be, the happily ever after Disney style. On the other end, and I want to ground this and make it so real because this. Well, I mean, this is the content that I do. So, I mean, if you hear this and you're just like, okay, that's got nothing to do with me, that's all good. But for me, this is really alarming. For me, I was like, oh my God, this is not good. This is so bad. Okay. I mean, in a very, I'd rather find inspiration somewhere else, but I do my best to be honest when I go on air. And so I absolutely, you want to talk about this is some pretty robust motivation. I'm, yes, getting that from this fact. And I haven't checked on it in a while. But I think a couple months ago, if I can recall correctly, the stat line that was dropped was that here at home, home for me is the great US of A. You know what I'm saying? Red, white, and blue all day. We have 10 million. That's a lot of guys who are just not in the workforce. And it's not just, the workforce. But this is no employment. This is no education of any kind, no training of any kind, no dating of any kind. It's nothing. They're just quote unquote doing their thing. I'm not judging. I'm not wagging my finger. I wouldn't know where to start. I'm just saying 10 million guys who are looking at the landscape of life. Yes, in the era of modernity, of course. And just concluding to themselves, I have absolutely zero desire to participate. I am grounding the opposing end of the spectrum in this current statistical occurrence of today's society. I'm doing that because would that not be, you take one of these 10 million guys, the slang or the derogatory term for one of these, one of our fellow kings is NEET. Okay. And it's, you take this one of these guys that identifies as a NEET. Would that not be the opposite of the end of the rainbow happily ever after example I just gave? Would that be burdenless? Would that be zero burden? No burden at all? How could there be any burden? This man doesn't have to do anything. Literally, I was watching these interviews and I actually don't remember. I just remember the question asked. And the reason why I remember that is because I saw a few, and in every single one this question was asked. That's why I'm pulling this one back. And the question was, how are these guys surviving though? Like how are they staying alive? Like, where are they getting the food and the shelter and all that? And hey, take your best guess. You probably come up, whatever you come up with might actually be like the answer. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing myself right now, but that's, family support, government support, illegal activities, black market. It's like stuff like this. Okay. Wow. So is that the carefree, responsibility free? You ain't no. Hey, okay. Recall the first example. There's no marriage to upkeep. There's no, this is okay, baby girl, and she's with me till the end. technically there is no end. You know what I'm saying? This is like you and me forever. And we got to work at that to keep the forever. And there's no, right? It's just him by himself. No one or nothing to check in with. No job. There's no boss. There's no job pressure of any kind. Income is not a thing. Okay? That's so crazy to me. Technically, I mean, okay, fair enough. Maybe this would not necessarily be the most lavish and luxurious lifestyle for one of these NEET fellows, but it's not a worry, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Okay, no wifey, no kids, because you need the wifey for that. And what else? This is the toughest one. This is the toughest one because it was the most It is. It's not just the most transformative part of my life. It's why I transformed. And I don't mean to say that like, oh, look at me and my metamorphosis. No, I say that because it changed everything. That's what I mean by transformed. The very nature of both my internal and external reality, the fabric of it, everything about it was completely altered. And that, and I attribute all of that to the Almighty, God. I love calling him Dad. That's all Dad right there. And so that's why I say this is tough, because on this end, wow, godless as well. So, so this man has nothing, but doesn't that mean nothing to burden him? I mean, you and I could stand agreed or disagreed here, but I mean, my personal take, no, it's not possible. I don't believe it's escapable. I mean, look, I can't. It's not possible for me to, how should I say, teleport myself into the actual POV and be able to personally gauge the perception and the pain and the emotion and the perspective and the worldview of any of these guys who are looking at life and saying, I don't want to live it. I don't want to die. I want to be alive, but I'm good with the whole living my best life, y'all. Okay. Power to you, self improvers. I'm good. And for me to hop into that frame and really dissect why, that is not possible. So that's why I'm not trying to speak for others. It's just the way that I see it. My take on it is it's inescapable, though. Burden. It's not possible for even that life to be truly pain-free. I just don't see it working out like this. Why? So why can't a guy who has nothing and at the same time wants nothing to do with society and life and just, I don't, like seeing what type of man he is, why can't that be peaceful? Why can't that? And I would say because there is too much masculine. I know. It's like, what? Oh, bro, Kumo, there's no way you just use that word to describe this. I mean, but it's a part of it, though. So masculine, divine. Oh, this is getting crazy right here. But I really do believe it's masculine, it's divine, it's intellectual. It's biological and it's instinctual. I mean, every single one of these. Can I think of some more? Okay, I'll leave it with these five for now. If I can think of more, I'll drop them. But these are energies. These are capacities, potential and capability. Dormant, yes. And I'm going to take it a step further right here. Sedated, yes, possibly. Denied and ignored consciously, sure. Right? You know, doused and drenched with liquor, okay. Buried deep in one's own soul and psyche. With buried with what, with whatever, with rationale, with escapism, with the facade and illusion, pretending I don't have. Oh, that Kumo fellow is super woo woo. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't have any of these capacities or capabilities. That is just not true. I know. I mean, this is at that point in the episode tonight where things are getting a little weird now. But hey, man, this is just my personal take. It's my personal take, and it's not true that any man is born without those things. It varies. Yes, we're not all born with these pure, spectacular, extraordinary God-given talents. But that is not to say that any man does not have a talent to pursue or cultivate if he chooses to within himself. That is haunting. And that's why I say inescapable. If you're with me on that, you can't get away because you will always be yourself and you'll always know. Regardless of how you live, even if you don't want to, you'll always know that, somewhere deep in here, there is something you would try. You would like, dare I say, love to give it a go, give it a shot. You know what? We'll see what happens. I'm willing to I'm willing to rescind an earlier statement, and I'll say all is tough for me. All is really tough. So maybe not all guys, but most men who they look at life and it's because it's not that deep. It's not like really that. I mean, you can go super super like way deeper than I did tonight for forever. Like, oh my god, you could have this conversation for the days, weeks on end. But on the surface, it's very simple. You want a great life, you're gonna have to do a great amount of work. A lot of guys look at that and they think, I want the great life, but the work part, I'd rather not. And so they don't. And then that's when that's why these two ends exist on opposing sides. But my thing is that I took it to the extreme to really try to flesh it out and clearly paint it for both of us tonight. But either end or anywhere in between, there will be burden. And that's almost because it's not possible to escape from what you truly know is going on inside of yourself, for even with your greatest attempts to hide it. Right? Sedate it, bury it, whatever. Drown it, whatever. And that it would still be there. And let's say I will pull a single thread out of this to really I want to press this point home. Sedation. Sedation's huge, especially nowadays. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You got to shop every other block. That's kind of like what you want. What you trying to do? Where you trying to go? What are you trying to see? I got some stuff for you. It's you know what I'm saying, right? It's legalized. It's a, you know. Uh, I'm gonna reserve my comments on that. I was about to, you know, but then that would veer tonight in a whole another direction. So, all right. So I just want to use sedation. Okay. Wow. Is that no pun intended? Kind of. Is that dope? Is that just like super awesome? You know, a man who has nothing. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to have anything to do with life, but secretly, do you know what I mean? It's like low key on the low. You know, when no one else is around, he really does. I would say, poor guy. That's because that's a lot of pain. Okay, and specifically, how so? That burden is because he will always need, you know, the puff puff, whatever is sedating him. Okay, the nature of the sedative. It, it, he would not be able to live life without it, because the moment he does, he will return to the realization that his current reality is not how he wants it to be, and he cannot allow that to happen, because that's a lot of pain. So he's got to find a way to get rid of it. That's not possible. I mean, hey, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. This is just what I believe. That's not possible. And so he's got to find a way to, like hide from it, so to speak. Okay, if it doesn't see me, I won't have to try ever. That right there, I don't care if there really was a guy living exactly like this, and he would walk up to me and he'd look me dead in my eyes, okay, and he would say, straight face and everything, like, that's how I live. Oh, your little example on the pod, that's me. I live like that and I love it. That's my life. Who is to say? I'm not hurting anyone else. I'm not breaking any laws here. I paid for this. I bought this legally. This is what I do with all the free time that I have. And I just don't believe him. I can't. It's so difficult for me to recognize that is a truth a man would accept for himself nowadays in the modern landscape. It's still going to hurt. It's still a lot of burden. That's so, see, all right, this is why it's so crazy to me. Like when I think about this, it's just like, why does it work like this? Why is it like this? Where you know, I took the time, I really took my time with the examples tonight. Either end. It's like, on one end, all the effort, on the other end, no effort. But both roads will lead to some kind of burden. It's something will weigh on you for the existence of being a man. That kind of weight, that kind of pain, that is not, it's immovable. Or rather, it cannot be removed. I want to end on this now, where the nature of, or at least a part of it, the nature of self-improvement that allows maybe the healthiest And the best way to deal with the fact that no matter what choice or decision you and I make, as a king, as a self improver, as a NEET, really any choice, there is no choice that will leave you with, oh, I got away. I keep saying inescapable because to me, we have 10 million men who are not accepting that answer. They are putting it to the test, they're putting it to the challenge. Okay. They are using their own lives, they're gambling with their own souls. I will be the exception. I'm going to find a way out of this. It's like waking up to the year 2025 with everything that we have, with all the incredible wonders and all the heinous atrocities. It's this is almost the nature of life. I don't know if life will ever be any different. I'm not so sure. Especially when you filter through the human experience, modern or ancient, you're always going to have amazing and why is this a thing? You're always going to have, right? The contrast. So for the guys that are looking at the potential of life and saying, I don't want any of it, because if I say no to all of it, none of it can hurt me. And they're dying inside. They are living lives in which it is difficult to do anything. It's hard to go outside. It's hard to look at themselves in the mirror. It's hard to think about anything but the current stimulus they are engaged with in that moment. Constant sedation. The sedation must be 24/7 in this way. Burden. Is it burden anymore? Or have we unlocked a new kind of hell in this present day and age? And we're just calling it paradise. Because to acknowledge it for what it really is would unleash the full consequence and severity of the nightmare. I don't want to be right. Because that's 10 million of our brothers headed towards that direction. Because in this current world of everything and anything you want instantly, that has a way of making us forget the confrontation, which is, and I know this is such a this is tough for any guy to hear it and say, "Yup, Kumo's right." I really feel that, but it's just I have to say what I believe in, and you and I, because we were born into the male burden. I believe there is such a thing as the female burden. I just don't really know how that works. Maybe one day. I'm definitely going to need some lovely ladies to, it's like I'll pay for the movie and dinner, and then in return, could you please give me the modern female existential crisis and explain that to me, and then like really study up, and maybe one day. But as of right now, I have no freaking clue. But I assume there is one. I can't imagine. It's probably pretty wild, like what is, the burdens for women? Okay. All right. But the burdens for men, because you and I are born into it. All right, is the fabric of our biological, right, neurological, chemical, genetic nature, right? It's all of it. It's all of it. All the predispositions trace back to our male lineage. A part of that almost comes, I want to say, naturally imbued with the ability to handle confrontation. And my final point tonight is that the ability to handle confrontation is because if you look at any guy doing anything for himself, having any kind of good life at any point in human history, it's because somehow, some way he needed to confront something. No hiding, no pretending, no ignoring, no denying, nothing. It's the moment where escape is forfeited. Because when you stop looking for a way out, one path remains. That is what is it you're trying to get away from. That's all that's left. When you acknowledge, I have no need, I don't want to get away anymore. 10 million of our brothers, you imagine, overnight thought to themselves, what if I didn't live like this? What if I were to really go for something other than nothing? Be revolutionary. I think, are you kidding me? Come on, bro, stop playing. 10 million? I mean, are you a self-improver? I qualify myself one. I hope that there are as many of us as possible. But for our forces to be bolstered by 10 million individual unique souls firing on all cylinders, trying to achieve the pinnacle of their own potential, what that would do to this country and our society, that would be crazy. What it would do to industry, what it would do. Okay. All right. Okay. Why are you and I born for the confrontation? I said my final. Because if not, then it would be very difficult to find power and strength in life. And so you would want, if you took the time to create a man and you intended, because you loved him, you intended for him to reach a point where he would be as strong and as powerful as possible, that he would one day witness his own final form. It would make sense that whether he was aware of it or not, eventually he could find out. But you wouldn't already explicitly tell him. You would just ensure, no matter what decision or choice he could possibly make as a human being and as a man in this universe, that none of them would be free of burden, in the hopes that if he were to ever realize this, he'd understand, oh, so no matter what I do or where I go or what I choose or what I try, what I think, it doesn't matter. All of it will require at the base minimum for me to get anywhere in life. I have to confront it. I have to go head on with it. I have to accept all other paths are irrelevant as of this moment because I need to see how I can get through this particular hurdle, obstacle, blockade, barrier, problem, issue, dilemma, and it keeps going. I believe that unlocks this singular thought process to treat your own life, unlocks the true utility of the modern man when a man is lost today in a sea of stimulus and instant gratification, right? Very accessible and readily available substances and distractions, pleasures, ways of life, enjoyment, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. That will be a beacon for him to follow. Where does it lead? Like a beacon, a signal for what? Where is this taking me? To a place infinitely better than where you are now, if where you are now is no longer where you want to be. I do this. I went into this talk, this kind of conversation for tonight, for any man who's just unsure. What am I supposed to stop and turn around and face? What is it? What's going on right now that's stopping you from taking the next step towards exactly the life that you really want to live? Not the life that you must force yourself to tolerate, or the life that you are forcing yourself to cope with. That's I think that leads to wonderful places. That leads to peace. That leads to a lot of the fulfillment and the joy. And on the contrary, as painful as the confrontation is, it leads to a much more painless and pain-free life. Not because life all of a sudden became less painful, but because you, as the man, brother, became that much stronger. Thank you so much for being here, bro. You like conversations like this, then you check me out. That's what I do here. Talk about a little bit of everything and anything that goes into all of this stuff, because you're watching the Pillars of Man, your number one podcast for the best conversations you could find, aimed at male self-improvement surrounding philosophy, masculinity, wellness, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Kumo. I continue to reshape the modern male reality, giving any man who wishes to pull the very best out of himself a way to do that. I hope to see you real soon for my next one. But until then, take it easy. Take good care of yourself. And I love you so much. Peace.